There are a lot of ways to farm in Season 2, and in this video, we're going to break down the best methods for farming. We're going to talk about the best way to farm legendaries, the best way to farm uniques, we're going to talk about all the uber bosses, how to summon them, and we're going to talk a little bit about leveling, which is where we'll start. Every class in the game has a massive power spike at level 45 and at level 60. This is because at 45 you can equip Sacreds, and at 60 you can equip Ancestrals. This is where the Domain Tunnels comes in, which is the absolute best XP in the game. Your goal should basically just be to get to level 60 as fast as possible, so that you can equip Ancestrals and start crushing content. As soon as you get into World Tier 4 at level 60, this is where the farming loops come in. And what I suggest you do first is the absolute best way in the game to farm legendaries, which is the Blood Harvest. Specifically, the Blood Harvest altars that allow you to summon mini bosses along with huge density. The amount of legendaries you get from this is absolutely absurd. And this farming method will be a lot more efficient if you have at least 2 or 3 other people in your party, because you need 50 blood lures to activate each altar, and there's 3 altars to activate, and anyone can activate them. So if you can get a small group of players together, you can farm insane amounts of loot very quickly. And this is going to be really important to do when you first hit World Tier 4. The blood lure pedestals can be found by going to the blood harvest location on the map. There's this little icon on it that indicates exactly where they are. The Blood Harvest has the added benefit of always having many Tree of Whispers events on them. They're always going to have at least 3, and sometimes they're going to have more. So you're able to overlap this farming because Tree of Whispers gives ridiculous amounts of XP, gold, and materials to summon the Uber bosses, which we're going to talk about later. So if you want to farm the Blood Harvest, always make sure you do it when the Tree of Whispers are up. So the Blood Harvest is the best way in the game to farm items, but you're gonna have to still do Nightmare Dungeons to farm glyph levels. And to me, this is the only thing I would really use Nightmare Dungeons for. You should focus on Nightmare Dungeons only when you're trying to gather and level up glyphs. The drop rate of glyphs seems to be much higher in Nightmare Dungeons than in other content, so definitely make sure you check them out. Nightmare Dungeons are also going to give you the material required to summon the Beast in Ice. And this is where we're gonna start talking about the Uber bosses. The Uber bosses are the most challenging, pinnacle content of any ARPG ever created. Well, I mean, not really, but they drop really good loot, so let's talk about them. Each Uber boss has specific materials that you need to get in order to summon them, and each Uber boss also has their own unique drop tables. I'm going to show their drop tables on screen as we talk about them, and there's also going to be a link in the description to their drop tables so you can pick which ones you need to farm. But there's 2 bosses that you will always need to farm because they will allow you to unlock the final boss, Duriel, who drops the Uber uniques. The first of those bosses is Varshan, who you might remember from Season 1. To summon this boss, you need several different materials, but don't worry, they're all going to come from Blood Harvest and the Tree of Whispers. Plus, whatever materials you get, you can convert into other material types using the Alchemist. Varshan can be found in the Malignant Burrow right next to the Tree of Whispers. Varshan will also drop Mucus-Slicked Eggs, which is one of the 2 materials that you need to summon Duriel. The other material is dropped from Grigor, who is found in the Dry Steppes. To summon Grigor, you need 5 Living Steel, which is dropped from a special chest in the Helltide. This chest is not marked on the map and is not currently on third-party websites, so you're essentially just going to have to run around and find it. It's guarded by a soft boss mob who you can kill pretty easily, and you should get several Living Steel per kill. After farming Varshan and Grigor, you're going to collect enough material to summon Duriel, who will drop your Uber uniques. Duriel is found all the way south in Kyrgyzstan inside of the Gaping Crevice. This boss is where you get your Uber unique, so you're definitely going to want to farm him. The next 2 bosses aren't part of the Duriel farm, but they have their own unique drop tables, and so you probably are going to want to kill them to farm for specific items. Those 2 bosses are Lord Zur and the Beast in Ice. Let's start with the Beast in Ice. To summon him, you're going to need to farm Distilled Fears, which are gathered from the end of a Nightmare Dungeon after you kill the boss. Once you collect 9 of them, you can go to the Occultist and craft a unique key that allows you to start a Nightmare Dungeon that has the Beast in Ice inside of it. To get to this dungeon, you can just open it like a regular Nightmare Dungeon and then teleport inside of it. The final boss is Lord Zir, who can be found inside the Darkened Way in Fractured Peaks. This boss requires blood that you gather from the Legion events in order to summon. Once you go inside of the dungeon, there's going to be a marker on the map that shows where his dungeon begins. Simply go to the marker, go inside, clear the dungeon, and kill the boss. Now I want to give you guys a couple of tips for farming these bosses because this is going to be the bulk of in-game content. The first tip is to always kill the world boss when it's up. It drops a lot of materials, so definitely try to kill him every single time he spawns. My second tip is to always try to farm these bosses inside of a group. The reason for this is because you're going to get 4 times as many materials to summon the bosses. So if every single time that you go to fight Varshan, for example, you're going to get 4 times as many materials to actually summon him, and then when he dies, you're going to get 4 times as many materials to summon Duriel. This is a substantial increase to the efficiency of farming Duriel, so definitely try to farm in a group when you can. That's all I got for today. If you liked today's video, please leave a like and a comment, and if you want to check out my stream, the link is down below. My name is Ruse Cruz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.